because her head was just cracked open. It's just blood just coming down the gutter. And I'm just like, she's dead. What is up, everybody? DanDanTheFireman here, and we're gonna go over some more dangers to motorcyclists on the road. We had a great comment section on the last video, and I decided to go ahead and make another one because you guys came up with some really good ones, and I'm gonna use some of them. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm here to teach you and help you become a safer rider by being more confident on the road. So click that subscribe button, boys. All right, so the first one is cars opening their doors. So this happens a lot with cars parking on the side of the road, and you've seen some movies where they open their doors and all that stuff, but this really can be a terrible thing, very dangerous thing for those that lane filter. So definitely those in the Europe and all the other areas in the world, except for America, you guys can lane filter, so you kind of have to watch out for those cars opening. Now, like I said, it's not something that I have to deal with all the time, but I know you guys are lane filtering, and you guys got to be careful with those doors opening up. People do not look a lot of the times when they open those doors, and if they do, they don't recognize motorcycles. We've talked about unintentional blindness before, and they just aren't trained. Their brain and eyeballs are not trained for motorcyclists. They're looking for other cars, and they will pop that door open out on you. Cars changing lanes. If you've noticed, while I'm riding, I got a bunch of cars up front. I have one car behind me. I think you can see him. And left turn in front of me. Number one dangerous thing for motorcyclists. We talked about that in the last video. One thing that you want to watch out for is cars changing lanes. So I'm really in my own bubble. This is my safe spot. I created my own cushion right here, and I'm in lane position 2 in the middle lane out of all 3 lanes. So I have like this big wide cushion. I do that so I'm not near other vehicles. I do not like cars. I do not, and that's what you should be doing. Cars are deadly, cars are dangerous. Stay away from them. If you're near one, get out of there. Try your best to get out of there. Right here, I gave myself this position because I do not like cars switching lanes into my lane. I will give myself a nice buffer. So remember, unintentional blindness, cars do not see you, they do not care. Half the time they don't even check their blind spot, and I said half the time, I'm pretty sure it's all the time. I check my blind spots. I'm always doing head checks on the motorcycle and in the car now because of that. And you have to make sure you're staying away from other cars. Other drivers behind you is a dangerous one, and that's kind of why I keep looking at my one little mirror. But I do head checks every once in a while, and I do make sure that there's no cars behind me because sometimes they don't give the space that they would give a normal car. Now this happens usually at a light. If you've ever seen those videos of people getting rear-ended or somebody right up on their if you've seen any of my videos, whenever I'm parked at a red light, I make sure I'm off to the side. So if a car decides to not pay attention and they are unintentionally blinded and they crash into the vehicle in front of them, which is usually me, I'm off to the side, and hopefully they will just barely clip me, or they'll just hit the car in front of me. I basically position myself in a lane filtering or lane splitting position, and that way if the car does come, it's going to hit the car in front of me. And I don't feel too bad. I honestly don't feel too bad about that, because at the end of the day, the car in front of me has crash protection. They have seatbelts, airbags, they have a crumple zone in their trunk or whatever it is. And me, I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing. If I get hit, I am dead. So once again, this is a deadly, deadly, deadly situation on the road. Cars behind you. So keep an eye out for those cars behind you. I know our field of view is all right here, the front 90 degrees or front 180 degrees. We have that 3-degree circle of focus that we will go over sometime, where you can only focus and you're like looking around, constantly doing that. But also be aware. Do a full 360 awareness. Cars behind you, cars to the side of you, blind spots, all those things. Harsh weather. Now this is kind of something I kind of talked about, but this is something I really want to jump into because heat can completely dehydrate you. And dehydration is something very dangerous when it comes to riding, or basically anything. I mean, our bodies are made of like 70 to 80% of water, and honestly, you need to have a lot of water. You need to hydrate yourself so you can handle harsh summer conditions. Because if you don't, I talked about this, I talked about riding in the heat. If you don't, there's the levels of, heat cramps, heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and you definitely don't want to go through that. So make sure you are actually taking enough fluids so that you can function appropriately on a motorcycle, so your brain can function too, so you can start thinking about what it is that you need to do, like in a situation right here, like in an intersection. Your brain will slow down. It's almost like being drunk. Snow and rain on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Common sense is that if it's snowing, the ground's gonna be nice and slick, so be careful where you're riding. Same thing with the rain. The roads could be slick when there's oils coming up from the asphalt, or if there's debris or anything like that. So once again, you're gonna probably have to take things slower. Your reaction time is gonna have to be better. It's going to have to your stopping distance is going to be slower and further. Your everything, your acceleration needs to be a little bit slower, just because you don't want to spin that tire because it lost traction. So there's a bunch of things that go on with that. I don't have to deal with it so much. I am kind of a fair weather rider nowadays because I do have to film, and this is not a waterproof case. That's not waterproof either. So that's how I do it. But still, it all plays into the same aspect of harsh weather can be very deadly to motorcyclists, especially in single vehicle accidents. Taking a turn too sharply, taking a turn too fast when it's snowing or raining, you slide, your braking potential is reduced. And also, once again, watch out for the cars behind you. I mean, they might try to stop at a stoplight and it's snowing and raining and they skid because they're not stopping very well. You know what I mean? See how all these things play together? I talked about this in my stupid beginner motorcycle mistakes video, and I'm gonna say it again: drinking and riding. And I changed it up for that one. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect, which basically means that you think you're smarter and your abilities are better than what they actually are. And that's what happens when you drink, okay? Your reaction speed is slower. I don't care what you say. You're like, oh, I drive better when I'm drunk. That's stupid. Honestly, that's dumb. I mean, if you're so amped up that when you're riding or driving sober that you need to have a depressant in your nervous system to calm you down, and then you feel like you're a better driver, you really aren't. Because honestly, like I said, it's a depressant of your nervous system. You're gonna be slower. Your coordination's gonna be way off. You're gonna be way off. You're gonna be like, oh, I can make this turn, and bam, you hit something else because you weren't anticipating and you felt like your body could handle it. Same thing with the slower reaction speed. You're gonna try to brake, it's not gonna work. You're gonna try to slow down, it's not gonna work very well. You're gonna try to speed up and you're gonna be going too slow or too fast. You might accidentally twist the throttle too much and you have such a slow reaction speed that you're not gonna be able to slow down and roll off that throttle quick enough. So drinking and riding is stupid. It's stupid, and that is a hugely dangerous and deadly thing for motorcyclists, because motorcyclists tend to drink and ride. I'm not just bringing this up like, oh, well, don't do it. You know, I'm a PSA for the state. No, I'm not. And I'm jumping on a soapbox once again here. I'm not. A lot of the motorcycle fatalities and injuries that happen, I believe the NHTSA did a report or did a study. I mean, there's studies all over the place, and they talk about drinking and riding. And a lot of it has to be with older riders and even younger riders. You know, it doesn't even matter who. It's everybody. As long as you're legally drink, you're going to be drinking and riding. Hey, little kiddos. Oh, I don't want to bother them. I'm a pretty loud bike. Whee! Drinking and riding is just asinine. It really is. It really is. And there's been studies and studies on drinking and riding, and it usually isn't a combination effect of not wearing a helmet and drinking and then crashing and now hitting your helmet. And you know, I'm gonna park right here because this curb reminds me of something. I'm gonna stop it real quick. This curb right here reminds me of something. I had a call down in Yuma, Arizona when I was a firefighter there, and there was this lady, I remember it was a blue motorcycle, elderly lady. She was in town. I believe she was a winter visitor, and she was drinking and she was riding. She took a turn. It was a left-handed turn, and she low slided, and she wasn't wearing any gear, no helmet whatsoever, and she low slided, hit her head on this curb. It was probably a 20-mile-an-hour crash. Okay, so it's nothing crazy, you know, minuscule road rash for some reason. I mean, probably level 1 road rash where it's just like a pretty bad raspberry, you know what I mean? And she skid and she slid and she hit her head. Hit her head on the curb right here. Well, not right here, but in Yuma. Dead. Absolutely dead. Drinking and riding. I think it was like 3 p.m. and, you know, just having a few drinks, and I think she came from a bar, so I wonder if the bar got in trouble because I think that's like an Arizona law or something. I don't know, I could be wrong. But she slid and hit her head on a curb, cracked it open, bled everywhere. I think that was one of the 4 or 5 calls that I decided, you know, I'm gonna always wear my helmet, and I'm gonna get a full face helmet now because her head was just cracked open. It's just blood just coming down the gutter, and I'm just like, she's dead. Like we did everything we could. We took her to the hospital, and she died. It was obvious. So wear your helmet. Wear your helmet. Get gear. Drinking and riding is just stupid. You're on 2 wheels, you barely have any traction as it is, and it's hard enough. I mean, if you're a beginner rider and you're watching these videos and you're out trying to ride, you realize how hard it is. Now add alcohol to the mix. Anyways, with that said, I hope you guys ride safe, be safe, and I'll see you later.